When a girl makes a sexual allegation against you as a man, it's as good as the crime itself.
Yes.
Because the stigma will go with you as a man forever.
And I think sexual harassment in and of itself is so skewed. The rules have been so skewed towards empowering women to actually come out and speak out about it more, that it's become weaponized system against men.
Against men. If a man goes to bed with a woman and she claims that he raped her, we don't know, we are not there. But there is a test that you can do on the woman to prove that the semen is there. But is there a test to show that the man raped a man?
I don't have another profile, but I have a spam account.
Spam account is like I post my private pictures, like a selfie and this stuff. Like,
but you can still use it to check on your ex.
It's close. It is sometimes.
Compare the ratio of sexual harassment in Saudi Arabia versus in America. If a man is highly seduced in a settings by this pretty girl, a 9 over 10, will you fault that man for falling?
Even the word babe to some women is sexual harassment.
It's sexual harassment. Because
imagine, you know how many ladies will call guys babe.
When the girl calls you babe, you are even a bit happy.
Why you call a girl babe now?
And you're gonna console me how to do it.
Show the proper way.
It's like you don't wear the bra. It's called bra. So he will like be touching the bra and rubbing it like that. So it's in a way.
Who run the world?
Girls.
Welcome to the Wet Waters Relationship Podcast. This is episode number 9, and we're going to be talking about a very important topic today, which is the elephant in the room, sexual harassment. Okay, so the reason why we are doing this sexual harassment, or the topic which is talking about sexual harassment, is really to raise awareness about sexual harassment and unpacking the cultural and psychological factors that enables sexual harassment. And we want to empower you guys, the listeners who are at home or anywhere around the world, to really recognize, address, and ultimately prevent it in everyday life. Now, we're going to cover a few things about sexual harassment. We're going to be talking about why it is important to really dive into what sexual harassment is all about, a few different key points around sexual harassment. And the most important thing is to really understand and help others prevent it from actually happening to them. Before we begin, we've got our guests. So we're going to introduce our guests very briefly. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to Mr. Brian. What's good? What's good? We've got our guest in our episode 9, and her name is Dolly. Do say hi, Dolly.
Hi.
Yes, all the way from Cheras. She's also from Malaysia. We've got Mr. Wet Waters himself, Mr. K.
Hey guys.
How are you doing, K?
I'm good, man.
You're looking fresh now.
Thanks, man.
You're looking very good. And of course, last but not least, your host right here, Virgil, or MC Virg. And it is a pleasure to be with you guys on episode 9 of the Wet Waters Podcast. If you guys are ready, let us know where you're calling from as well. Give us a thumbs up with your country flag beside you. Also comment in the comment section about your own experiences in sexual harassment. So how are you guys doing, man? Brian, how are you doing? That's it, just 2 words. Yeah, I'm alright. Dolly, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Tell the people who's watching you on our Wet Waters Podcast a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Dolly, 23, from Cheras. I am a freelance model.
Freelance model? Wow, cool. We've got a freelance model. Sexual harassment would really make a lot of sense to you, because as a model, I think you experience it quite a lot. Hey,
Exactly.
yeah. And K, please, everybody's just waiting for the man.
Yeah, Mr. K, always
Yes.
Mr. K,
Of
same
course,
here,
Mr.
same here, same studio, same place. Yeah, hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend so far. It's Sunday evening here. We are having this great time once again. It's been over a month, right?
Yeah.
It's been over a month, and I know you must have missed us. I want to be optimistic about that, and we're here to stay. So you'll be seeing us more frequently every 2 weeks. Yes, yeah, every first and third weekend of the month. So yes, stay tuned, and we hope that we can have a great conversation. You can always call in, drop your comments, and we hope we kill it tonight.
Oh, we're gonna kill it, bro. We got a model in the house. I think she's gonna give us a lot of good points as well. So let's begin. All right. So the first thing first is that statistics have mentioned that approximately 1 in 3 women worldwide have experienced sexual violence. Okay, not sexual harassment, sexual violence. It's actually more than just harassment. And about 78.2% of all workplace sexual harassment complaints in the US alone are filed by women. Mr. K, what do you think about these statistics after hearing it?
Yes, of course. It's a very prevalent concept in society.
Yes.
You know, when you talk about sexual harassment, for me, I think it's a very delicate concept. And why is it delicate? Number one reason is because it is prevalent. So like the statistics have it, if you do your research, you find out that 1 in every 3 women have gone through sexual harassment. And in my own opinion, I would say in this current day, where I would argue that the number of bisexual men is even more than straight men. I would argue that, yes.
We've got 3 straight men here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about what.
Now, the problem is you cannot even be too sure, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's an argument for another day.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is there's a lot of focus on women when we talk about sexual harassment. But indeed, in this very time and age, men still go through this sexual harassment concept. in
Men
society.
goes through sexual harassment.
Yes. We'll go deeper into that. But back to what I was saying, it's a delicate concept which I would always say, number one, is delicate because it is prevalent, and number 2 is because it's very subjective. When you talk about sexual harassment, for example, in workplace, right?
Yeah.
When you tell a girl, hey, baby, you're looking hot, that could be sexual harassment if she's not interested in you.
If she's not interested
as a colleague, or it could be flirtation. You're just flirting with her. So in this regard, it is the receiver of the compliment that determines whether it is sexual harassment or not. You could just be giving her a very innocent compliment, but she's reading it as sexual harassment.
Yeah,
and another lady, you tell the same thing, maybe because she's into you, she's seeing it as flirtation.
Yeah.
So it's very sensitive. There is a thin line between flirting and sexual harassment.
Yes.
And it's not in your hand as a man to determine whether you just sexually harass somebody. It is the girl that you've spoken to or the guy you've spoken to that could determine that. Yeah. So this is why I say it is a very delicate matter. Then also it is delicate in this era because of social media. Because there's one part of sexual harassment we don't talk about, which we'll go deeper into as we proceed. Digital sexual harassment.
Digital sexual harassment.
Yes, for example, you're stalking someone who is not interested in you. And you start posting things on their pictures on Instagram, on TikTok, and you write things like you're looking hot, stuff like that. That is all sexual harassment. But this part of sexual harassment, which is the digital sexual harassment, is not looked into in society today. So this is why I say the concept is very delicate. It's delicate because it's prevalent. It happens to a lot of persons, and it is happening. I'm sure she has a lot to say as a model. And number 2, it is very ambiguous in the sense that it is subjective. So you could mean no harm, and another girl is reading it as you have just sexually harassed her. Yes. And then lastly is because of the fact that there are other subtle forms of harassment, like the digital harassment, which you could be innocent doing this, but it is still harassment. Yeah. And then lastly, I would say the criminal part of sexual harassment, which is sexual assault or sexual violence or sexual abuse or even sexual allegation. That's a serious matter. And why is it serious? Because when a girl makes a sexual allegation against you as a man, it's as good as the crime itself.
Yes. Because
the stigma will go with you as a man forever.
Definitely.
You understand?
Definitely.
Whether you are acquitted of the crime or you are convicted of the crime. When the girl says, this guy sexually harassed me, every other girl that sees you in the future looks at you with that same eye.
Yes.
So this is why sexual harassment is a very delicate topic.
Yes. So men out there, if you want to give a compliment to a lady or to a woman, I think maybe you can ChatGPT yourself a little bit just to stay on the safe side, right? So instead of going up to a girl and saying like, hey baby, you look hot today, don't do that. That's weird, okay? Maybe you want to say things like, I like your dress. Where did you buy it from?
if you say that also, she can say you're sexual harassing her.
How am I saying sexual harassment? I want to get
Because
that
of
from my women.
You like it. You look. That means you're looking at the dress, and that means you're looking at her, and you're telling her you like her dress. So nowadays, if you're talking about sexual harassment, then people always say they would want to twist everything to harassment. Because it has happened to me actually. My place of work, someone wanted a favor, and because of I couldn't help, and the person said I verbally harassed her.
Verbal sexual harassment.
Because you couldn't help her.
Because I couldn't. Now, what is this verbal sexual harassment I did? You have a boyfriend, and what did I can't remember what the question, but I remember about acting like in a relationship and all that. And she answered properly. Then at the ending, because of she asked for a favor, and I was like, I can't really help. This is not me to do. She said that I verbally sexual harassed her.
Wow, maybe that explains why there's more bisexual men than straight men.
And this part is the part that makes me say it's a very delicate concept.
It is very delicate.
Because it is an innocent remark or innocent compliment, right?
Yes.
A man is giving. But a woman can pick that and weaponize the concept, right? And say you've sexually harassed her. So this is why we need to educate ourselves about sexual harassment and how it plays out in society.
I think that's a very interesting discussion to go into. It's because sometimes we don't know what we're saying. Like, I can say like, hey, your hair looks good, but it can be actually taken as sexual harassment. So I was not aware of that. And I think it's really, really good to go into, diving into this topic a little bit more. You know what? Let's just dive into it, okay? So our first topic that we're going to be talking about under the sexual harassment umbrella or the episode is what counts as sexual harassment. Statistics shows that globally 1 in 5 women has experienced sexual harassment at work, right? So Dolly, I'm going to direct this to you. What qualifies sexual harassment for you? Because like as a model, I can imagine like you may have had some slurs that relates to sexual.
It's more like catcalling and sexual joke. A group of guys, they're like together. They saw a woman passing by. They'll be talking some things like about her appearance, about her body, and which is in a sexual way.
Right.
So I get that a lot.
and they're very upfront to you about it.
Yes.
Oh, that's
It's like it's a bit of insult, but in a bad way.
But for me, I'll be like, why don't you take it as compliment? Why do you take it as sexual harassment? Because of they are expressing something good. Maybe if they're saying you look good, your body is good. So why do you take it as sexual harassment? That's another Islam. I'm confused.
Why women would choose to see a compliment
as a sexual harassment?
Sexual harassment. If she's not into you now.
That's it. That means only if you're into the guy, that's when you take it as.
That's when it becomes.
She's not. It's
like
just
flirtation.
If you're into the guy,
it's just flirting.
Then if you're not into the guy, it's sexual harassment.
That's why I said it's a delicate matter because it is the receiver that actually determines whether it is sexual harassment or not. In fact, there are cases where a girl can actually be cool with you when you make some of these passes or compliments to her, and she's cool as a colleague, she's cool with you, and then maybe something happens in the office and she's no longer cool with you. Even after 1 or 2 years that you've known this person can still go and tell HRO that sexual harassment has taken place.
Wow.
So that's why it's very delicate. Okay,
so then what would you classify as like inappropriate, right? In terms of a sexual harassment action, like would it be, calling or texting after hours? Like how would you feel as a woman when a man does that? You're not in a relationship, maybe just friends, just very platonic, nothing more. How do you feel when someone's like, calling or texting you at like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning? Uncomfortable. Interesting. Why would you feel
Because like if it's a friend, like he has to be like based on a topic. What is he talking about? If he's talking about like work or anything else, okay, acceptable. But if it's about something else, like I want to hear your voice, I miss
something's up with you, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because you're not into him.
Yes.
But if you're into him, then it's acceptable.
That's it. That's because you're not into him.
I think that's the blurred line between sexual harassment and
because
what is not sexual harassment.
Yes, if the guy is good looking, the sweet guy, one of the hot guy in your company,
in your office,
like that's calling you and tell you, oh, I miss you. You'll be like, okay, yeah. It's cool, but if it's some dead guy in the office and like, guy sexual harassing me, That's it, right?
Yeah, I do agree. Some girls goes on look, you know, they don't see the guys without. If let's say the guy's not good looking, they will like just I don't like this. Why is he texting? Like
Yeah. So it's extremely subjective in that sense.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think I want to dive into something called digital sexual harassment, as what Mr. K brought up. Unsolicited sexual messages or pictures like sexual jokes, cyber stalking, revenge porn, creating fake accounts to harass or impersonate someone sexually, sextortion. That is a very interesting concept that I want to dive deeper as well. Mr. K, maybe you want to share a little bit about what sextortion is all about.
Sextortion is basically getting sex from someone under duress.
As an example.
Like there is a threat of blackmail. For example, you have a friend, okay, and you know she has done something wrong and all of that, right? And there is this possibility that it is highly criminal. If this is highly criminal, you're telling her, okay, as long as you can go to bed with me, I'm going to keep this a secret. That is sexual harassment.
That's sextortion, you mean?
Sorry.
So it's extortion
What do you say again?
by sex, using sex.
What do you say?
Sextortion is extortion using sex.
I think it's quite prevalent back in, even today, but like I've experienced something very similar to this. When I was in Singapore Airlines, this was in 2013, right? So unknown account just like suddenly reached out to me. When I was very young, I had this strange account that connected with me via Skype. And what happened was this person snapshot my face, edited my face into a pornography, and threatened to exploit this and say, we're going to send to all your families, your friends.
That's
we're going to
revenge porn.
post like
Revenge porn,
so
yeah.
so I was not aware of all. I'm like, why are you doing all of this? So this feels like AI, but this was in 2013, okay? And they claim that they want to send all of this out to your friends and blackmail you and everything, so that they can get either a big amount of ransom off of you, or they want you to sort of meet up with them at a specific location
And have something to do with you.
and have something to do with me. Yes. So the scariest thing was I can actually foresee people saying yes to those things because of their pride and ego.
In relationship, it also happens. Relationship a lot.
Yes.
Once you leave your some people, they leave their partner,
Yes.
and they start using their pictures to threaten them to come back and
It happens. So you are dating someone or you're married to someone and the relationship is going smoothly, and then somewhere along the line you guys break up, and then all the intimate pictures and videos you shared, this person takes it up and threatening to post it. That's also sexual harassment.
Towards the male or the female.
Both sides.
For both sides,
Both
right?
sides. But
So it actually applies
but
to both sides.
mostly it's the guys.
it's guys that do that.
Most because
it's guys that do that.
because
most.
most girls wouldn't want to do that because I think they feel like maybe girls they have a lot to lose, and guys they feel like it's they
And guys think
Right.
it's the best way to get back at the girl.
Probably. And I personally feel like women have a higher self-preservation value compared to men.
To men, of
Men,
course.
we're more risky in behavior.
Yes.
There are like certain exceptions towards some fellow men who's like very very high self-preservation where they don't do those kind of things.
Yes.
Can you go up a little bit, because there was a very good point that was shown in the UK. So there's 1 in 3 women under 35 has faced some form of sexual harassment, like unsolicited nudes, example quote unquote dick pics, sexual jokes or DMs, revenge porn, sextortion, even creepy comments or fake profiles. And the craziest thing is 76% of young women in the UK received unwanted sexual images, like men. Guys, come on, why would you do this?
Yeah, I see a lot of girls complain about that.
Yeah.
Guys just keep sending them
Right,
nudes and all that.
Yeah.
And it's sad because women are typically moved by what they hear. Men are typically moved by what they see.
Yes.
So this is why a man meets a girl on dating app, and before you know, he's asking for nudes and all of that. But women don't necessarily need that.
Yeah.
The typical woman needs what you're going to tell her. I think this is another reason why men are always the harassers when it comes to revenge porn. When it comes to sending your ex threats that you're going to expose intimate pictures and videos. Men are always doing it because it is men that always ask for those pictures during the relationship.
Yes.
Especially if it's long distance. But they say for
Why are you laughing now? It's like you have some experience here.
No, because they say nothing as good as masturbation for a long distance relationship. So men will always ask for these things, you know. Yes. So I mean that is the cure to long distance relationship. This is where men come into the equation. Yeah. Men are always the perpetrators of this sort of digital sexual harassment, which comes down to revenge porn. Then other forms of digital sexual harassment, like creating a fake profile and then start stalking. Yeah. I would argue that women are largely the ones that do that.
Of course.
You know, like you, every now and then you post a picture on Instagram.
No jokes. No jokes. Every lady has a fake profile.
Is this true?
No, I don't have.
Okay.
I have a spam account.
Oh.
It's the same thing now.
It's this. You fall into like every lady you open their Instagram, you see that like this. They wait, they switch. I'm like, wait. I've seen that like
some even have multiple fake accounts.
Yes. Yeah, I have a friend like that.
Really? Like 2-3 fake accounts.
And she was like, no.
No, I don't have another profile, but I have a spam account.
Spam account is like I post my private pictures, like a selfie and this stuff. Like,
but you can still use it to check on your ex.
It's close. It is sometimes.
Done and dusted. See, even our production crew is laughing because she knows it's true. Yes, we know.
Of course, I'm not. It's normal. Them girls that the ones that do this, that one, they give it to them. 100.
Yes. So that's the part of sexual harassment.
Yes, it's very interesting actually. So I got a kind of a controversial question to ask you. This is so controversial because even in Malaysia, many people attribute their wrongdoings to this question. Now, the question is, if a woman dresses in a revealing way, and they get sexually harassed, is it her fault?
No.
I would say it is partly.
Partly? We've got a very controversial man here, guys. For me, it's a straight no.
Why?
No.
Why?
Okay, the one saying it's partly her fault. Okay, tell us.
Partly her fault. Why now?
So once you say it, then I'll counter.
It is the same as saying the reason why you're raped is because you were there in the first place. No.
The reason why you're raped because of you're wearing just brown pants.
No.
Okay. Because you're raped because of you're at the beach. And that means you're at the beach wearing bikini. That's why you're raped.
No. Okay. Why?
That's what you're trying to tell me now. Okay.
Yeah. We want to hear your perspective.
Yeah, the point is, why I say partly, it might sound a bit abrasive to say that to women. But I say it from the standpoint of, yes, they have no say in the act of sexual harassment as a result of she dressing in a suggestive way, right? But if we are to completely exonerate women from this situation and say men who sexually harass have 100% of blame, and we take away accountability from women in positioning themselves in, however you want to call it, in a proper dressing style.
What's proper dressing style?
Now, that is where we have a problem. I've had this conversation so many times. Because
what's the proper dressing style?
When you say a girl is dressing revealing or a girl is dressing properly, it is highly subjective, because the way you dress in Saudi that is termed proper is not the way you dress in Malaysia. It's not the way you dress in the US. So I understand that when it comes to dressing modestly or properly, it is highly subjective. But I just believe that we are 3 men here. Let's assume we are in our 50s and we have daughters of 21, right? There is a way you will want your daughter to dress in public.
Of course.
Even you as a woman, if you have a daughter, there is something your daughter will wear in public and you feel like, that is off, right?
Off in what way?
That is off. It just makes you feel uncomfortable. I think we all have that subconscious baseline that we use to judge these things or measure these things. That is the major problem. There is no particular standard on which we can define a proper dressing. But everybody can look at a particular dressing and tell yourself, okay, this is okay, this is not okay, right? Now, let's put that all aside. So that's the problem. The fact that when you talk of revealing, it is very subjective. Because you see, like in the West, people just wear, like, what do you call it? Bomb shots, right? Bomb shots,
crazy.
right?
Bomb shots, yeah.
And then they just expose all the cleavages and all of that.
Yes.
But you don't dress like that in Saudi.
No.
But in the US, it is okay.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So yes, that this gray area is a problem. However, my point is, if we take away this accountability from women when it comes to how they dress in public, I think we have totally put men in a wrong position where a woman can even intentionally dress in a seductive way if she is interested in you and thereby making you make moves.
Okay.
And this is not me excusing bad behavior of men with no discipline and self-control. But I'm just saying that if I were to have an idealistic world that I would create, and I'm the god of that world, I would say women will take like 10% blame. Just so that there could be accountability for proper dressing in public. Right. That's my point.
Yes,
right.
you're putting that women should take a little blame. But now go back to different region or different areas, like in Saudi, Western part, like American, UK and all that. They dress like that. It's normal for them. But in Saudi, they're fully covered. And even the ones, and if someone actually dresses inappropriate, like you said, in that area, I would like us to know what is the ratio of sexual harassment in that place.
Okay, compare the ratio of sexual harassment in Saudi Arabia versus in America.
Yes, so now
bring it up.
So if it's meant to be higher in the for Saudi, you know why? Because of this is a place that people actually don't see people dressing in this certain type of way, which will catch their attention more once they see you dressing like that, for them to harass this person, than a place where you see it as normal.
And men
Everyone
will just walk by because they're used to it.
They're used to it.
I don't think a revealing dressing is something men will ever get over. But for example, every time a man can be seeing this woman walking along the street, right? But for every day of his life, right? There will never be a time he will not have if he wants to get nasty, right? If he's an harasser, there is never a time he will not feel like he wants to do something.
Good.
With
That's
that,
why.
Right?
That's why.
So I don't think people will get.
So you won't blame the lady. It's just the men that are not proper, that they have that bad behavior.
I totally agree with you.
They have that. It's just the men that they have that bad behavior in them. That's why they harass ladies. So it doesn't matter if she's dressing inappropriate or appropriate. Say if you're a sexual harasser, you will always do that.
I would agree on that point.
Yes, I totally agree with what you're saying.
So you can't.
But you don't want to rule out the fact that sometimes there are men that have been in situations where they actually got in bed with a woman or had something sexual with a woman because she seduced him. You can't take away the possibility of seduction. Yes or no?
No.
Yes. This is why we cannot give zero accountability to women.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes. If it goes to that part now. The lady seducing the guy, that means she is
intentionally
trying to drag this person to seduce him, but not the way she's dressing without having a clear mind, not having anything to drag this person closer, and is going for her, meaning that he wants to do something, not her. If you say she intentionally seduced this guy for him to get into a whatever harassment happened, she did it on purpose. But now if on her own, this guy just come and harass her. Like,
of course, like,
and that happens a lot.
We can never blame the victim. Whether we're talking of harassment, abuse, domestic violence, you cannot blame the victim.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if we create a society where women do not have any accountability on how they should present themselves.
That's very dangerous.
Bro, trust me when I tell you, you're going to hate that society.
Yeah,
even you will hate that society. Because that is why when you go to the bank, you see women with cleavages and stuff.
That's corporate. That's the corporate
world. The bank. So when you go to the church, for example, or you go to the mosque. So you see, these are places that people intentionally dress properly to. So it simply means that there is an essence of proper dressing.
No, that's because of
it's the
rule. It's the rule of those places that they have to dress like that. So it's not because of you can't dress in any type of way to those places.
She wants to say something. She's been stealing. Dolly, what do you think?
No, I mean, even if a woman who's covered like from head to the toe also can be a victim, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I feel like a man, his biggest challenge is to control his self, yes.
Yeah.
That's his biggest battle, to control his own lust.
Because it could be in any situation, right? Like sometimes, women, they need to trust in men. Example, like, hey, a friend is going to come pick you up to go somewhere, right? But that friend can suddenly turn into an aggressor without them actually realizing it. And sometimes it's not just because of the way they dress, but it's really from, a psychological standpoint on why would this guy do that to this person. And I think that it's very hard to control these things. Women are free to dress however they want,
Of
right?
course.
And I think where Kay is coming from is more from a standpoint of having a responsibility in understanding the kind of attention that you're going to be pulling to you.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, when as women or as men, when you dress very seductively, you will be subjected to quote unquote certain forms of sexual harassment. Like if you're walking on a beach and you're dressed really, really sexily, it's fine. But when you use that same dressing, like your bikini, and you walk into a shopping mall, guess what's going to happen? The entire shopping mall is going to turn and start staring at you because it's not a place of norm.
So that is the accountability that I'm saying we cannot afford to take away from women. Not because they need to be blamed for being harassed. No. But women have to understand that they are also accountable for some, however little, but some of the attention they attract. So it's like saying, what's the time now? It's 9 p.m., right? Yeah. It's like I go to some place in Klang and I take $1 million in cash and I'm just walking on the street and then I get robbed. It will certainly happen, right?
Okay, not to say Klang is a very, very dangerous place, but we're just saying the point.
It can be anywhere, okay?
If you put yourself in a situation where aggression is imminent. I'm walking with $1 million ringgit in my hand. Like, dude, anyone's going to be like, I'm just going to sock him in the face. I'm just going to take the $1 million.
And if that happens, are you saying you're not going to take blame for exposing yourself?
Yes. In that situation, I think it must be, accountable.
So there must be this percentage or amount of accountability on both sides. However,
more to the guy.
And like I said, 90%. 90% of such blame has to go to the man who cannot control himself.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I want to ask a question, a very puzzling question. If a man is highly seduced in a settings by this pretty girl, a 9 over 10, will you fault that man for falling? Will you?
No.
Will you? So why will you tell me that a woman should not be having accountability for how she's dressed?
It's either that woman is a nymphomania or she's a serial killer. So be careful, guys.
So exactly.
Oh, good question. Thank you for asking the question. If anybody is in the chat and you guys want to, state your comment, let us know what you think as well. We would love to read your comments. We're going to move on to the next thing, which is societal perspective. 99.8%, I repeat, 99.8%, just shy of 100%, 0.2% short of people who experience sexual harassment at work never file a complaint. This is a very scary statistic. Now, it could be from a standpoint of kindness. It could be from a standpoint of giving this person a second chance, right? Maybe he's not aware. Maybe he's, something, or maybe something actually happened and this sexual harassment can turn into a blackmail where their job can be taken from them. Their pride, their ego might even be hurt by this, in any other way where this is so prevalent. 99.8% of people who experience sexual harassment at work never filed a complaint.
A formal complaint.
Why?
Meaning that's why, because they're capping.
Who's capping?
The 99.8.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain. I want to know. What do you guys think? Do you think that they're capping? That's why they don't report it?
For them to come to this, maybe they've done the finding. They've met a few people. They just ask, and people just say, oh, they will just say this, I had this or what. They'll just give stories. But it's possible it's not, there's no concrete evidence to that. So they're just capping. That's why they came to that conclusion. Possible.
I was doing a bit of a social experiment lately, and it just dawned on me that there is this characteristics that most human beings have. And do you know what that is? Playing victim.
Playing victim.
People love to play victim. I've come to a conclusion. victim mentality because it's self-soothing. So
Self-soothing,
when you ask people who have never even been harassed, have you been sexually harassed? Oh yes.
You see, that's
Not
like,
necessarily.
You see, I don't know because
Look at all those laughing.
yes,
She's
that's
like,
that's why it came to
too
that.
many
Because
people
they're
like
catfish.
that.
She definitely doesn't fall into that category because she works in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of women out there, you just ask, oh, sexual harassment. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They're ready to tell you a million stories.
And you then
understand.
that's where this
That's where
99
this
99.9 came from. Of course, they're capping.
So the statistics is just putting us in a downward
For the
spiral.
first time, I'm going to challenge the statistics.
That's like that's.
Now I'm a numbers man.
But for me, that's I always think out of the box.
Yeah.
I think out of the box on when they come up with percentage or.
But
But that does not mean I will support you.
No.
You're rebuffing
So
of
they
statistics
have
next time.
a war because he's a statistics numbers guy and he doesn't believe in statistics. He believes in real life experiences. So interesting when these two gets at it. But now, since we're talking about society's perspective, what do you guys think where people always say men are always viewed as the aggressor or the harasser in a case of sexual harassment? They always take the side of the ladies first before the side of the men. Case in point, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. What do you guys think of this? So Dolly, what do you think of this?
Why men?
Yeah.
Probably is because the percentage, the statistic. Most men, they have like the percentage shows like they harass women more than women do, especially on social media.
Yeah.
Like virtual, face to face, physically.
I think I would agree with that as well. And because men are generally more, physically adept,
Yeah.
overpowering the other person.
The point is the gender power
Yes.
that men have adopted over the years, because whether we like it, the world has come from a traditional place.
Yes.
Relationship has always been traditional, though it's getting otherwise these days, but it has always been traditional. And the traditional style is men are the leaders, the providers, and the protectors. So even the Bible says the man leaves his family and go meet a woman and makes her his wife, blah, blah, blah. So men have always been the one going out to search. That's why I say men are seekers, women are pickers. So as a seeker, as a man, we just have, over the years, I think men have just adopted to the style of always making passes at a woman first. But although we're living in an era now where feminism and all of that is making women feeling like they can ask a man out. But naturally, men will always be the one to ask women out. And based on this particular concept, in the office, in school, whatever, men will buy the flowers, men will send the text message, men will walk up next. So at the end of the day, in such a situation, you always find out that men tend to be the ones accused of sexual harassment.
And again, men actually don't speak out. Just same as
Yes.
abuse. The same as abuse. Men would keep it, or even though they are being harassed, they don't actually say. But ladies are the ones that would always speak out or say, this person harassed me, or not many girls see this guy, that guy is good, this guy is sweet.
Yeah, guys make those kind of jokes.
Like trust me, like
when guys want to make such jokes, it can be very sexual.
yes. So, but
It's like
the
saying,
men,
oh,
we
look
don't-
at you with
but
your height, I
only
know you have a
ladies-
big dick. Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is sexual harassment.
Yes, but
We don't be like, hey,
we don't yes,
report this in.
we just relax. But ladies, any little thing you say, oh, harassment, he harassed me, it this, it that, it this. I'm like, hey, what are you saying?
Yeah. Even the word babe to some women is sexual harassment.
It's sexual harassment. Because
You see, imagine,
Because-
you know how many ladies will call guys babe.
When the girl calls you babe, you are even a bit happy.
Yeah, why you call a girl babe now?
That's
You
some
like,
form of
who's your babe? Who's
I mean,
your
ideally-
babe?
yeah, at the end of the day,
who's your
we're
babe?
here.
Why
And
you
some
calling
girls
me
just
babe?
tell you straight.
Yes,
Why
who's
you
your-
babying me?
Why baby now?
That's how you talk to other girls.
My name is not babe, my name is so and so.
So. That's sexual harassment. And why this is dangerous, despite we can make a joke out of it, why it's dangerous is because there is a criminal part of this sexual harassment. If you are a big person in society, like these Hollywood stars, you see a lot of these sexual harassment cases. Even the cleaner who said this actor in Hollywood harassed her, a cleaner. Who was cleaning his home.
You know, I didn't hear about the
Things
guy,
like that.
the UK guy in Australia also.
Yeah.
I've not what I forgot his name. I've not heard anything about this case too. The same thing says
Yes.
some girl he sexually harassed one girl in this thing.
Yes.
In Australia.
So so for me, I would say there is this gender bias when it comes to sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Because we men ourselves, we don't speak up. And that's the problem with men, which is something that we as men have to learn from women. Women always support women, irrespective, because they are all bound in the same world, the world of emotion. But men are bound in the world of logic. So we don't empathize with each other. As a matter of fact, if you complain to me that a girl sexually harassed you, I'll call you a pussy.
Yes.
You understand?
I'm like, you'll be like, she sexually harassed you. So what did you do? You didn't follow up.
You didn't follow up, you know?
You know, like what's crazy? If you go in a group of men and you're a man and say like, "Hey guys, I just got sexually harassed," they'll be like, "What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, bro? She grabbed my ass, dude. Why didn't you do anything about it?
Why did you grab her own too? Why did
you take a hand and instead the ass? Why did you move the hand?
And now the sad part is if you do that and she didn't mean to, because girls can be very funny sometimes. Girls can be very funny.
True.
They can make the first move, okay, which is sexual harassment, but you choose not to because, of course, you want to have something intimate with her.
Yeah.
Okay? And then you now make the second move. And then they blow alarm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you begin to wonder, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Is it not the same girl that was calling me 2 a.m. last week?
Yeah.
So it's like that because, of course, that's another topic because women have transient emotions. So, and they live in the world of emotions. And one thing you know about emotion is that emotion is not stable. It's not permanent.
Yes.
It's very transient. So when she's in the best mood, that's why she was calling you at 2 a.m.
I want to say something about this.
Yeah. When she was calling you at 2 a.m., she was in the best mood. But now she's on a period. She can call you by 2 a.m. If you call her by 2 a.m., she will scream at you. So it's like that. So
And she might change by me and see you're harassing
her.
Yeah.
So these are some of the gray areas. That's what we're talking about, sexual harassment.
That's true. Going back to what you said, putting some blames to the ladies also, even though not even by what they wear, even by the actions. By the action.
Now you are coming to terms with what I said.
Yes. I just thought of when
which is a very rare thing.
In life.
I just thought of something.
In life, I've learned that you don't take away accountability from human beings.
Yeah.
The moment you take away accountability from any human being, that's why even the Prime Minister of Malaysia, right? There is opposition party that will still put him in check. It's like that in every country. Yeah. In Nigeria, it's like that. Yeah. So there is always this need for accountability. There has to be somebody that can tell you. That's why they say a man that nobody can talk to is fucked up.
Going back to that, there's a story that happened. One guy, I've experienced a lot. I've heard a lot at community, so I'll give you guys a lot of stories. This guy, he met a girl at the club. They were talking and he invited her over to his place. Actually, not his place first. He invited her out for dinner. And after dinner, they went for a movie. After the movie, they went back home at night. And they ended up doing 1 or 2. After that, the next day, the girl called the police and said he raped her. If you go to a guy's place at night, you went for a movie, followed him back home, and you're calling the next day and saying you were raped by this guy. Won't they blame? I don't mean to blame the girl too. Why would you go back to a guy's house?
When you're out drunk or high or something?
Listen, you're going back to the guy's house and you guys met at the club and now you're saying the guy raped you.
And you don't know him. It's not your uncle. It's not your father.
And you're saying the guy raped you.
Okay.
Like, how?
Yeah. And the worst part is,
but they put all the blame to the guy.
Yeah, the guy is
the
guilty
guy
until proven innocent. And the girl is innocent until proven guilty.
That is the most gruesome and scary part of sexual harassment or sexual assault.
Dating.
Because if a girl says you did this, even if it was 10 years ago, there are countries you will still get prosecuted.
Yes.
Even if it's 10 years, no evidence. And sexual harassment, in most cases, there is no evidence.
Yes. And I think sexual harassment in and of itself is so skewed. The rules have been so skewed towards empowering women to actually come out and speak out about it more, that it's become weaponized system against men.
Against men.
Yes.
That's
I'm so sorry. Hope you're not because the way you're quiet, it feels like three guys are just here
Yeah,
to.
actually, I'm so surprised because so much to talk about. Jolly, come join us, Dolly.
Yeah, let's
It feels
talk.
like the three guys are just like.
Because I'm just
this girl.
focusing, like I'm listening.
Yes, actually, there's a lot of good points
Yeah.
here, but like we want to listen to your,
Yeah.
your.
You should speak
your
for the ladies
insights
too, because
in this,
for us, we're actually talking
Yeah.
from our own side
our
as a guy.
experiences. Not in we sexually harass people, but in what we find. in
me.
how
I'm
we
speaking
feel.
on behalf of men all over the world. Mr. K is speaking on behalf of men. When it comes to
one love.
when it comes to sexual harassment, I think men are at the receiving end, which is very unfair.
Yes,
like you
no,
said,
true.
it is one crime that you are guilty until proven innocent, and most times there's no evidence.
And you can be guilty
societal
without
we are talking of societal perspective, right?
Yeah.
Societal perspective is always in favor of women.
Yeah.
Once a woman cries out and say, a woman can even leave her house in the middle of the night, come to your house, which is like maybe 10, 20 kilometers away, and she spends the night in your house. And she was drunk, she was high, they do tests and they confirm that she was actually drunk, she was actually
Even
high.
though she wasn't high and she wasn't
left
drunk.
the house the next morning and go to the police station and say, this guy harassed me sexually. And you will be in prison. You will go to jail.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
There is no second thought about that. You are going to jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where do men get exonerated?
Even leaving
In
the
that
fact,
kind of
okay,
situation.
remove,
If they have
okay,
evidence.
remove the fact, even though she's not drunk, she's okay. You go to the guy's place. Now, why are they not testing the guy to know how do they balance to know if she did or if he raped her?
There is actually almost no
Okay,
check and balance.
now you've even said this. Let me ask you one question. If a man goes to bed with a woman,
Yes.
and she claims that he raped her, we don't know, we are not there. But there is a test that you can do on the woman to prove that
How
the
about the guy?
semen is there. But is there a test to show that
the man,
the
that
man
is
raped a man?
Yeah, this is what I just think. This question
I don't think there is a test. Is there a test that can be conducted to know whether a man was raped?
ChatGPT, let's go.
Because in fact, this
So
is
even the
something-
physiology of man and woman is already putting men in a disadvantage.
yes,
Yes. I think okay, this is like completely just my own thought, right? In a stressful environment, a stressful situation, something called cortisol rises in your body. So if there could be something that determines that, we might be able to
But
fix it.
cortisol goes up and down. So
Yes.
let's say she's reporting after 2 days.
Yes, if it's
Or you are
unnatural.
reporting after 2 days that
If
the
it
guy
is-
raped you.
If it is an unnatural amount of stress, like rape against your
I don't think so.
consensus.
Because cortisol will always go up and down. So even if they check you after 2 days, I don't think the cortisol levels will be same with when she raped you. So there is no proof. Is there something like that?
Okay, how to prove male rape? Physical evidence, DNA injuries, or semen can help. Okay, how to prove female rape?
Even the
What
DNA.
DNA? What-
You see the
what
DNA? Eh? The DNA the guy can also say, yeah, my DNA is in you because you raped me.
Yes.
Not the other way around.
yes, yes.
But a woman who was actually raped, even after days, part of that guy's semen can still be gotten.
Yes, yes.
So men are
if,
at a disadvantage.
Huge disadvantage.
And that's why Mr. K is right here on behalf of men.
Text message to prove nonsense.
Non-consensual actions.
Digital evidence, text or messages may provide proof of non-consensual action. So when the guy is telling you, I want this right now, are you going to be texting it?
And this
When she's there with
this situation I gave you guys earlier.
It's happening.
The girl was the one on him, like, okay, she wants to meet and everything.
It happens a lot,
and
bro.
only for her to go and make a report that he raped her. And
happens a lot.
this guy went in for this.
It went in. A lot of
Have you-
men have gone in. for
Have you
this.
experienced like your friends who would intentionally do this to like other guys? In that sense, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
In
like,
my surrounding, no.
yeah, I think it's a pretty rare instance of like a lady doing that.
It happens a lot, especially if lady like she's into you, but you're not into her, and she knows that how to put it, she just wants you to suffer. So she will just do that just to make you feel,
Yeah, just to slight you.
Yes,
Yeah,
just
to
to
get back at you.
get back at you in any way.
But you also understand that even the laws in most countries doesn't protect men when it comes to sexual harassment.
No.
That's why the ladies are always
What's the percentage of male harassment to female harassment.
Because the men will never say.
You will see.
There's no.
It will be exponentially different. So I think these are some of the gray areas of sexual harassment that not everybody is bold enough to talk about.
Yes.
But here on Wet Waters, we don't walk on eggshells. We talk about everything.
We step on
and
everything.
anything.
Don't need anything to share. Like I'm pretty sure you have some experiences.
Hope we are not overwhelming. We talk like this when we are together.
Well, for this, I can say like I have my friends. It's a guy. He interested with me, but in a way, he unwanted touching. Like it's like without my permission.
Right.
So
What? Wait. Okay. Sorry. What's on what was
Unwanted.
unwanted touching?
touching, yeah.
What do you describe as unwanted touching?
So it's like basically I'm doing something. He placed his hand on my thigh.
Oh
So-
no.
I'll be like, "You're my friend. What are you doing?"
Yes.
So I quickly move because I feel uncomfortable, right?
Yes.
So on the other hand, it could be like when I'm feeling emotional or something, he just place his hand on the back.
But
So
if-
in a way, he was rubbing it, but it's obviously it's
Not very.
So okay. That,
But
what
if it was to pet you, to try to comfort you when you were in your emotional down, how would he do it? He would
on your head?
do
You come and
like
rub
this.
your head. Like. In fact, I'm not understand.
No, because see,
nowadays girls
Very,
now
very.
they put everything as
See,
sexual.
I want to tell you
harassment
something.
or
This is very serious. You know
You
why?
see?
If it
Pay
does not
attention, you
happen
guys,
to
pay
you,
attention.
right?
That's
If
what
it
I
does
want
not
to
happen
elaborate
to you,
more.
right? I wish there were 2 other girls here to talk about this, because I think I would like to hear from the side of women
Yes.
how these things work. Because if you're not in the good books of a woman, the way they flip the script on you
is the fact.
in this sexual harassment thing, you will be bamboozled.
Imagine what she's saying when she's down and it's rubbing her back. Where should he rub? You should rub your head, or you should hold your ear and say,
because
"Feel good, be good, be
We
good."
can have the sense like, okay, he's rubbing it not properly. Like it's
Is there a proper way to rub back? I don't understand. Is there a proper way to rub it back? I don't like
Exhibit what? Yes.
I don't know. Is there a proper way to rub it back? I
We
don't
can
It's
do
like
some
dusting
practical.
your shoulder.
We can do some practical. Let's do some practical. Can you please show us how do you rub a back in the proper way?
Okay, case.
That is also
No,
I can stand up.
what's the proper way?
So
what's the proper way to rub it
so
back?
I just went for a competition, and I'm very sad. I'm a woman. I didn't win, and I'm so sad. And she's like the guy that is interested in me.
Yeah.
And you're gonna console me how to
Okay,
do it.
show the proper way.
It's like you don't wear the bra. It's called bra. So he will like be touching the bra and rubbing it like that. So it's in a way very.
But wait,
Okay.
again.
You asshole! Why do you
Again,
do
no,
this?
wait, again. How are we sure that? Because trust me, what if it
was not intentionally
or something, or now are you sure it would just come? Trust me, if you're feeling
No,
down,
no,
it won't come
I
and say
stand on
rubbing
her
your.
side
He
of
said
this.
it was rubbing my back, rubbing your back.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to bombard you.
But
or this thing.
Dolly,
but now
you
he
know,
was rubbing your back.
is there
and
a way
he's
you can
holding
touch somebody's back and not touch the bra if
and
it's a woman?
like
I mean,
is it
Or
yes,
touch
there
a
is.
man's back and not
I
touch his
stand with
singlet?
her. I stand with her on this.
Okay,
because,
please explain.
Okay, because there are zones. There is a yes,
Yes.
you're allowed to, and no, you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay, show
Well,
me.
wait.
Coming from the
Is
front
it-
is a big no.
Of course.
Anything below this area is a big no.
Yeah.
How many
Example.
people know that?
It's so easy. Example,
No.
right? Okay,
But
as a
Veg,
man,
it's not general knowledge.
It's not. No. Not.
It's-
See,
you know why?
Did they
You know
teach that
why?
in school?
they don't.
So how would you know?
It's common sense.
This common sense
Common
is
sense.
common sense. Not common.
Okay, let me show you what common sense is, right? Hey, babe, I'm so sorry you lost. Is this safe or not safe?
This is safe.
Some people.
Hey, babe, I'm so sorry for your
But
loss.
what of a hug? What of a hug?
If it's a hug, it's a different story altogether.
What I say.
She must allow it.
What I
But
say.
it-
So
Dolly,
say-
for example,
so
right?
everyone that hug, they allow it.
Maybe.
Maybe,
I
maybe
don't
no, you
know.
see, maybe.
Yeah, I
no,
can't answer that
it's
question.
normal. It's not.
Dolly,
it's normal. We
Dolly,
can't- we
for
just hug-
example,
we
right?
just hug people.
For example.
So it's not like you can't tell me that it will. The way she said it, that's the thing. Girls will always put things that this person.
Exact-
They
that-
always
that's why
make
I
the
said
guy feel
yes.
like is harassing them.
There is no
because of
no
now.
standard on which we can measure this sexual harassment.
No.
It's
Yes, there is
very
no standards.
subjective. That's why I said it's a delicate topic. Okay, let me go back to myself.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
No, you see, I'm sorry, but that's me. Because when you say something, I want to understand, like, because ladies now, they make everything feel like
there is a lot going on.
They're always the one victim. They're always playing victim.
Especially in the entertainment industry.
Oh, especially in the entertainment industry.
Especially.
Yeah.
And like I said, there are more bisexual men than straight men. So
In the entertainment industry, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guarantee you, bro, in not just that ministry, in any ministry, there are more bisexual men in society than straight men.
Wow.
So even men who are going into certain industries like entertainment industry, even the normal corporate life, bro, I'm telling you, it might not be from experience, but empirical data.
As a data
data
analyst,
relationship expert. I can
self-acclaim.
I can guarantee that yes, these things happen to men as much as it does to women.
Yes.
And which is worse? None is better, but I would say men who suffer sexual harassment from fellow men are even at a greater risk. Yeah. They are even, more grievous victims than the women. Why? Because a normal setting...
I've been sexually harassed when I was young. Oh my God! Now you're bringing it back.
Oh, so you see?
No, I wasn't touched or anything.
I wasn't touched, but there have been cases like that. I get that a lot.
Yes.
A man that is, looking good, corporate life, is talking to you as a fellow man, and you are feeling like, man, bro, but I have a girlfriend. Should I explain to you I'm a straight man? Yeah. You understand? Yes. So these things happen. Yes. Let's not behave as if men are not also victims of sexual harassment,
of course,
even in corporate world.
I will give my experience in this, right? So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to segue into my experience in what was a sexual harassment that I didn't understand at the time. So I was young. I was only 19 years old, and I was working, I would not say where, but basically I was working with a different set of people every single time. And I was placed because this person was leading the entire team, and he was, not straight, and he made me work with him in a very secluded environment. So being young, we wouldn't think about all of these things, right? So first thing that he did, because we were sitting side by side, he put his legs on me, and he says he rubs his finger across my face like this and down to my shoulder, and it's like, I think you're gay, and I'm like. That's exactly how I react. I'm like, what? No, I'm not. I'm straight. And then he's like, no, you look like you're a closet case. I know a closet when I see one. And then I said, no, I'm not. I have a girlfriend.
I explaining.
I explained myself. I have a girlfriend. I love pussy. I love all of these things, right? And then he ends it with, if you're straight, good for you. But if you are one of us, welcome to the club. That thing that he said messed my mind up.
It's traumatizing.
It traumatized me because
at
for
the point
next 3 days,
you're thinking if you should be gay or you should be straight. If you're straight.
Because this guy was at least 20 years older to me. So I thought he knew something that I didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe he saw something in me that I don't see in myself. So I was watching gay porn just to see if it would attract me.
Yeah.
It took me 3 days, guys.
Are you
3
serious?
days. Yes. It took me 3 days to get out of that mindset.
This is why I say men that are victimized.
Sorry to go that way, but coming back to that.
No, it's part of it.
Yeah. I appreciate the fact you say this, because every time I talk about these things, it seems like I am being too judgmental. But I say that when a man is sexually harassing a woman in the corporate world or wherever they find themselves in public place, it is a bit understandable, not justifiable, but understandable. But when a man is harassing a fellow man, that victim is going through a lot.
Yes.
He's going through the fact that he is being sexually harassed. And then number 2, he's going through the fact that he has to deal with the trauma of being sexualized.
But why don't you look at it
by a man? If a woman is sexualizing him, it's a different ball game.
But wait, why?
But when a man is sexualizing you, that is a trauma of his own.
But why don't we? The same to women harassing women.
But it's rare, bro, compared to men. It's
rare.
She's in the entertainment industry.
You think it's rare?
She can attest to that.
LGBTQ, all those things now, and all those.
No, it's not. We are talking of man to man.
Woman to
But
woman.
woman to woman is rare compared
It's
to
not rare.
man to man.
It's not rare. A lot happen.
But Dolly says it's rare.
No, trust me, it's not rare. A lot.
Maybe I've never met.
A lot of lesbians.
And for me, you know why that would be a bit less significant
Because
women to
of-
women? Because when a woman is sexually harassing another woman, right? Because women come with a soft tone, and this
they
is
don't,
all
because
emotions,
of women,
right?
because it's women to women, they
can even be friends.
they don't look
I
at it.
actually have a friend who was friend with her friend who is also a woman person, right?
Yeah.
And how did they become friends? She asked her out, and she gladly told her, I have a boyfriend. I'm a straight woman. And they became friends, platonic. But for men, it's not gonna. Men will hit harder because they will try more, to get you. They don't care. They are converting you, but they don't care most times. I'm talking because I've experienced these things a lot. I'm a straight man today, and will forever be till I die.
And you're saying that,
I'm telling you,
I'm saying
I've
this.
had conversations. You can tell this guy that, okay, I must say this disclaimer. I'm not saying, respect to anybody and whatever they choose to do,
Yeah.
But I'm saying when it comes to sexual harassment, men can be very headstrong. And when they are victimizing you, bro, you're going to be dealing with two problems: the victimization itself and the trauma of being sexualized. So it's not only women that have to deal with this transactional sexual harassment. Men also deal with this. And it's so sad that the society, because we are talking of societal perspective,
Yes.
the society doesn't cater to man's need in that situation.
Anything that you'd like to add on, Dolly, before we move on to our final topic of the
Somebody said that's pedophile.
That's a good friend.
All right. So, guys, if you have anything that you wanna leave in the comment as well. If in your own experience, we'll also read it out if you like to as well. I think this is something that's very interesting to talk about and something that's very important to talk about as well, because sexual harassment between male and female is very predominant and very prevalent within modern society. So, don't take this opportunity to miss out. Get involved, get in the conversation, let us know your experiences as well. And now we're going to segue to our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by
Wet
Waters. That's right, the water is wet as it can be.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, cheers to you. Thank you so much for Wet Waters for bringing us all of us here. If you're interested to support this channel, support your or you want to place your brand here, that we can even dive deeper into it. And if you find our topics interesting and it is really tailored to you, let us know. Contact us via email and more through our social media platforms as well, and we'd love to have a chat with you on that. So now let's dive into the final topic of the podcast, which is on what can we do? Really, as male, as females, what can we do? So now, statistics that I like to share with you is that in some workplace studies, the number is slightly higher, with up to 30% of men reporting they've experienced some form of harassment, often by women or other men. So now, let's take Malaysia, maybe even Nigeria and the US in perspective. Some of the common challenges that we're facing in these countries is the fear of retaliation and slow justice, even embarrassment as well, to some extent. And we're also talking about how to support someone who opens up about sexual harassment. Example, like we just had this conversation where I was sharing my experience. The worst thing you can do is laugh at the person. Brad, I'm looking at you. And
I said I'm gonna laugh.
yeah, no, it's fine. And the last thing is how to report sexual harassment at work. Now, I'm gonna ask Dolly this, like, as a model in the entertainment industry, at what point does a compliment from a colleague cross the line into sexual harassment for you?
Yes.
Yeah, in what point does a compliment cross over?
So once I was wearing like a dress under my knee. So can see my leg. There this one guy, he was also in the same industry. Came up to me like, "Hey, sexy leg." So in a way, I find it uncomfortable. Like,
You see, ladies.
no,
See, ladies.
no,
Let her finish.
No, but you see, ladies. Sex
So-
is, but a guy can wear a suit that fits into his body, and you say, wow, your body is good.
Yeah, but you don't compliment.
But you can compliment his body.
But
You
in a
understand?
way- In a
It's
way,
the same thing. You can compliment. Wow, your
Let
body
the
is
lady finish
fitting.
her point first.
Yeah, it's fitting.
Taking the carpet off.
Hey, God.
Even a production lady is like, aku nak teranjang budak ni kan. Oh my gosh. Alright, Dolly, finish your point.
yeah,
nothing is
in a way I
alright.
feel uncomfortable lah after like what he said, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't like it. I told him straight, like I don't like what you said.
How did he take it when you did
He
that?
he started laughing in a joke way.
Right.
Like,
To diffuse the situation, most importantly. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I think that must be very uncomfortable for you at the time.
very.
And when you stood up for yourself, how do you feel? I mean, most importantly,
I feel confident.
confident. There you go, guys. If you get stood up on, laugh your way out of it. Feel confident about himself for standing it up. But thank you for sharing, Mr. K. Before we go to Brian always has very very interesting things to say. What do you feel about this topic itself?
What we can do
What we can do? Yeah.
when it comes to sexual harassment. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on the very elementary things that we all know, how to follow up complaints and all of that. But I would say that I've been doing some experiment, personal research. I've been looking at a lot of topics in society, a lot of concepts. I've been doing some social experiment personally, and I have just come to understand, maybe I might not be perfectly correct, but I've come to understand that majority, if not all, of life's problem can be solved by two things: traditionalism and masculinity. These two things. If we can restore traditionalism in our system and masculinism, if every man in the world is taught to be a proper man, like in the time of Alexander the Great, the way men were carved out and shaped. And women are also taught to embrace traditionalism, how our great-grandfathers conducted dating, marriage, and society.
Yeah, very
I am
proper.
very, very positive that 90% of the world's problem will be solved. So even when it comes to, I try to apply to different concepts. For example, sexual harassment. When it comes to sexual harassment, I tell you this: who are the kind of men in corporate world that want to sleep with an entry level? Who are the kind of men?
Don't mind me saying this. Usually, people in management who have a lot of control.
Yes, I know, but what type of men, in your opinion, what kind of men do these things?
I'm gonna open up to you guys.
What kind of man?
What kind of men usually they're in a position of power, and then they use this power to extort women, to extort sex from women? What kind of men do this? It's not the man who is looking good or confident, have access to a lot of women. No,
It's especially the ugly.
it is the man with the low self-esteem,
Yeah.
the man who never had guests all his life.
Yes.
Now they gave him a position in that office, manager, director. He's gonna fuck every girl that comes in. Permit my language.
I finally
Those are
got
the
the
kind of
power. Yes, that's what they feel.
The man who has always had his access to women because of his good looks, his charismatic nature, or his personality, or his upbringing. Maybe he comes from a well-to-do family. These kind of men, I'm not saying all, but these kind of men, they get in that position, they just let things be. The lecturers in college back then in Nigeria, the lecturers that we knew for sure, because it was very prevalent in Nigeria universities, the lecturers who were doing that are the kind of men that when you see them, you know, this man never met a girl when he was a teenager or in his youthful life.
Yeah.
This man never fuck a woman. That's why he's doing this thing now.
Yeah.
So that, in my opinion, I think if men act in the fullness of their masculinism, they understand what it is to be a real man, I think sexual harassment from the part of men will be very dim, to be very slim.
Yeah.
It's not going to be what it is.
Yeah.
Because a man who is fully confident in himself, good self-esteem, and he thinks good about himself, and is someone who has been through a proper upbringing, that man doesn't see women like what he has to sexualize. It is the man who has a fucked up upbringing, or who has never been with pretty women and all of that. So when you give power to such a person, what do you get in return? They just want to take advantage of people.
Yes, all the ugliness.
They just want to take advantage of people.
Everything within just want to come out. You want to express all those things. I don't know what joke that they had, but okay. So
only for the boys.
There's a guy said, my girlfriend left me for a Nigerian guy. Any advice?
You say what?
My girlfriend left me for a Nigerian guy. Any advice?
Her girlfriend left
Your
for a Nigerian guy.
girlfriend left you.
For a Nigerian guy.
Are you a Nigerian?
That guy, I've seen that comment before from one guy. Your girlfriend left for a Nigerian guy.
Are you a Nigerian?
I don't want to talk, but she has spending power. If you don't have spending power, go and get that spending power and come back.
You see, what he has said may be very in a crude form, but it still boils down to the same thing that I was saying, masculinity. A very masculine man understands what it is to be responsible. Because like I always tell my sisters, I say, how do you know a responsible man? It's a man that carries responsibility.
Yeah.
Responsibility makes a man responsible. So the ability to carry responsibility is also tied to your financial capacity.
Yeah.
So it comes down to what he said.
Yeah.
So masculinity talks about responsibility for a man, right?
Yep.
That is part of masculinity. And responsibility talks about what? Financial capacity also. Because like I always say, this current era we are living in, the metric to measure a man's relevance is finances.
Yeah.
Every other metric, you are wasting
100%.
your time. That's why I guess we say, I love tall guys. A guy must be 6'11", 7'15", 8'30". But you will see them with billionaires that are short as F.
With big tummy and they don't care.
So that's why I said, people keep arguing this with me, and I'm looking at them from the point of the enormousness of my, experiences.
Yeah.
Finances has been the metric on which women measure men's relevance.
100%.
So I'm not saying that you should go and be desperate about making money, but I'm telling you the essence of financial capacity. You will take her back from a Nigerian guy.
I'm gonna.
Or you take another one from another Nigerian guy.
I said, where was that comment? And that same comment, someone said the same thing on TikTok one day.
It's true, because a lot of people are losing girlfriends to richer guys. That's why I said bring back masculinity.
Dolly, what do you think about this? Do you feel like women are living in duality, in the sense where they have what the heart wants? They want a tall guy that is like 8'4", too tall for their own liking, built. But then, reality sets in where they're like, this guy is everything I want, but just the finances doesn't check in.
No, for women, I guess it's all about money talks.
It's simple.
As long as how you look, we don't see. How fat, ugly, or whatever.
I've said it before. No man is ugly.
Of
No
course,
man is ugly. You are just broke.
Yes.
It's just
It's
money.
the fact.
You are just broke.
It's the fact.
You poor, bro. All right. So we're gonna close the conversation right here for our episode 9 of the Wet Waters podcast, which is talking about sexual harassment. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in all seriousness, if you do face any form of sexual harassment and it comes to a point where it really traumatizes you, seek for help, speak about it, go out there and and make a difference, in the sense where you want the perpetrators to actually face some form of consequences. For the ladies, I beg you, please do not weaponize what the system has given you. Do not make sexual harassment laws that is tailored to helping you speak out against the perpetrators. Weaponize it to make your bitter enemy face the worst consequences that's possible. Do not misuse the system as as how and when you want it. Final thoughts, Mr. Brian. Any final thoughts from you?
All I'm going to say is that we'll go back to the fact about ladies always playing victim and putting the blame on the guys, and also we need to understand that most of these things the guys are not at fault. Most ladies, they just always put everything on the guy, and they should come to a way to prove the guys on all these harassments, or to know if it's actually the guy or the lady's fault, or who's the victim in all this. We should come. I don't know how that should be done, but we should look for a way to know the actual person as a victim in harassment. not just always putting the blame on guys and guys.
And punishing the victim.
Yes. So that's it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It should be fair for both sides.
For both
Male
sides.
and female.
Thanks for sharing that. Very good point. Dolly, any final words for you?
Yes, it will like be fair for both genders. Whoever is at fault, they have to get their consequence.
I think in the case of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, if it wasn't for Johnny Depp's recording of how she was, physically and verbally, violently abusing him in certain aspects, he wouldn't have been acquitted for his.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because they
for
always
whatever
believe a
happened.
lady.
Yeah.
Everything lady says is always right.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank
It's
you.
a woman's word.
Yeah.
Who run the world?
Girls.
And we sing that song without us knowing that it's
And I
really
guess
true.
men play this song.
And in club and this thing, who run the one? Girls, and we are screaming till you're happy. But it's actually deep.
Beyonce knows something that we are discovering every single day. Yeah.
Yeah, final thoughts. It's a beautiful conversation, in my opinion. And I would part with this. Firstly, traditionalism. We should embrace traditionalism. It's an antidote for most of the poison in today's society. Number two, masculinism. We should embrace masculinism. Men should learn to be men. Men are meant to be providers, protectors, leaders. Men should learn to be men. If men learn to be men, you will naturally get all the respect you deserve.
Yeah.
But I'm not excusing disrespectfulness from women. But I'm saying that there is an essence of masculinity in today's society. And I'm very sure that will fix a lot of problems in society.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. I would say thank you so much for our guest on being on the podcast once again. Stay tuned for our next episode, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you guys are enjoying this podcast, do leave a like. Subscribe if you have not already subscribed. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube as well. Let us know which part of the conversation that you like the most and what you'd like to see more moving forward in our next episode of the Wet Waters podcast. Mr. Brian, thank you so much. Dolly,
Thank you,
it was
Virg.
a real pleasure having you here,
Thank you,
Mr.
guys.
K. Always.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
Ladies
thank you
and
for
gentlemen,
being the most wonderful host we have in Malaysia. You can always hook up with this guy. He's a great host for your shows, for your events. You see, he talks like a computer chip, So please, you can
I'm not
always
AI built, guys.
you can always connect with him. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much. I'm Virgil, and I will see you again in the next podcast at Wet Waters Podcast. Take care, guys. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.